Hi, my name is Stefan Wolf and today I want to show you how to delete drivers from an ESXi Bootbank. If you're doing operations like this, you should always do it with the official VMware support or with the support of the appropriate server. For example, if you have an HP server, do it with the HP support. If you have a Dell server, do it with the Dell support, and so on, because they deliver the ESXi images. And if you have to delete a driver from the boot bank because of storage reasons, then you should always do this with the vendor support. Okay, we will go in this video to two parts. One, the explanation parts, and one is the parts where we go in the lab, where we show how to do it in live. Be aware of that this is not an official VMware video. Everything that I do here is my private opinion, and you do it if you're doing this in your environment, you're doing it on your own risk, and there is no guarantee that it works. First of all, I want to give you an introduction of the problem what we have with these boot bank sizes and the solution what we can have on the different versions of vSphere. So what is the problem? The problem is in the prior versions of vSphere. So actual is vSphere.7, and we see here in vSphere.6 we have this specific layout of the partitions. And the problem with vSphere version 6 is that they has a fixed size of the boot bank. So boot bank 0 and the alternative boot bank 1 has a fixed size, 250 megabytes. That means regardless of what you have as a hard disk, a 30 gigabyte hard disk, and 100 gigabyte hard disk, or a 200 megabyte hard disk, always they will have 250 megabytes. And that's the main problem if you want to install, for example, additional drivers for graphic cards, GPUs, or for additional VMware installation bundles, like for example NSX and other products, then these 250 megabytes can be not enough. So how to solve this problem, we show then later in the lab. But how is in future versions of vSphere? And this I want to show you here when you scroll down. In the version 7, we changed that with a flexible size of the boot bank 0 and boot bank 1. And how this works. If we scroll a little bit further down here in the article, we see the different sizes of the boot banks depends on the media. So if the hard disk of the server where we install ESXi is, for example, 4 gigabytes to 10 gigabytes, we have 500 megabytes of a boot bank, so double size. If the hard disk of the server is 10 till 32 gigabytes, we have 1 gigabyte for each boot bank, and so on and so on. So you see, for the future with version 7 of vSphere and version 7 of ESXi, then there is no problem anymore. We have enough space for all the drivers that will coming. But if you're still running ESXi version 6, then we need to know how to clean up unnecessary drivers, unnecessary whips, to make space for the important whips. And this we want to show you now in the lab. So before we start, please be aware of, before you make any modifications like that on an ESXi host, make sure there's no VMs, no virtual machines are running on this ESXi host. Why? Because we remove drivers from the boot bank that eventually needs for the operations. So for sure we don't want to remove drivers that are needed for the operations, but if we accidentally remove a wrong driver, this can impact the function of the servers. And at the end, we will reboot the ESXi host. And if we reboot the ESXi host, then all the virtual machines that are running on it, they would be not longer work, right? So they have to restart on another host. So to make this in a very good and smooth way, remove all the VMs from this host and then make the modifications. So now we are in the lab and we will go to our first ESXi host to delete the potential driver. So we go to the ESXi host 1 via SSH. Let us increase the size of the terminal window. So apply. Okay. First step is to show the partitions that we have. We do this with the command df-h. And we see here now the both partitions around 250 megabyte each. And we go on the first partition here and we copy the path and say, okay, cd space, we copy it in, enter, and we are now in the first partition. Now we want to show all the drivers or all the files that are in this folder. We do this because there are so many files. We do this with a special command, and this command is ls minus space minus l uppercase s space pipe space more. Enter. So then we see here all the files sorted from the biggest to the smallest, and we grab as an example here, for example, the Qnative driver. For sure you should choose the biggest possible that you can remove, and you see here we have some of these bigger ones are already NSX VIPs, so NSX kernel modules. So we don't remove this now, we just choose an unimportant driver in this case, but it could be an important driver in your case, so be carefully. So let us imagine we want to know which, we choose this one here, the QL native, and we want to know what is this, what kind of driver is this, which vendor, and for what kind of components is this. So we press Q now, and then we copy this command here in, and this command is ESXi software web get. This will show us all the drivers and all the descriptions about these drivers and about this module. But this output is too much. You see there comes thousands of lines. So we will put all these output here in a driver file, in a text file. So we copy here this command, and you will see here ESXi CLI software web get the information, and write this in a text file. So we write this here down, and when it's written in, we can go with the VI editor in this text file. And then we press the slash button, and we just search for the QL native FC driver that we copied first. And then copy. We search for this driver. And then we see we found it here, the QL native driver. And we see this is a QLogic driver here. QLogic native FC driver, and let us imagine we don't have native FC HBAs in the server, so we want to remove this stuff. Okay, then we want to go out of the file, and we want to remove this special driver. We copy this line here, and we say, okay, let us copy this. We want to copy ESXi CLI software VIP remove -n QL native FC. We press enter, and this will take around 10 seconds, 15 seconds. We have to wait for. And when it's finished and when it's successful, they will get us an output again. Okay, now we see update completed successfully, but we have to reboot the system, okay, to check whether it's really removed, and you show us, okay, here it's removed. We can just set the same command again and press enter, and we will after some seconds see, okay, hey, I cannot remove this module because I have it already removed. So no VIP is matching, so it's really deleted. Okay, so then let's imagine, okay, that's works pretty well. We just copy this command here and put it in an extra file. Okay, so let's create a new file, new text file, and we just paste this in. Okay. Why we do this? Because let us imagine you have 10 hosts, 15 hosts, or whatever, and we will want to make sure that this works. We have to do this on several ESXi hosts. Then we can just copy these lines in the next host, and we have to do it only once. So, okay, then we want to check another driver. So, and let us imagine we want to select the next one. Okay, we get the same command back, ls space minus l uppercase s space pipe space more. Okay, and we choose the next driver, and the next driver that we choose is the Broadcom one here. Okay, again, same stuff. We copy this file name to our extra text file. I have prepared this already here for sure. And then we go out of this view with the Q button. So we press Q, and then we will go to the driver txt. It can be now that the driver txt not longer exists. Okay, it exists. Sometimes it can happen that it not longer exists. So you have to put this output again in the driver txt. So, okay, then we press / and we search for this specific driver for the Broadcom FCOE. Let us imagine we have also no FCOE stuff that we need here. We search for it and we found this Broadcom FCOE. So for sure we know that it's Emulex in this case, or Broadcom was acquired by Emulex. And we see here, okay, it's an Emulex driver for Emulex FCOE cards. We don't have Emulex FCOE here in this server, so for sure we want to remove it. Okay, then let's remove this, and then we say, okay, we just copy the next line here, ESXi CLI, and we will remove this driver. So ESXi CLI software VIP remove -n and the BRCM FCOE. So when this is done, we can reboot the host, for example. So let us wait a minute. And let us imagine this is successful. We copy this comment also in the next in the extra text file, and we make here some spaces and press enter to make sure that he just really then enter on this and at the line. So okay, we see here it's removed, so the module is removed. It was successfully, and then we can reboot the system. And when we let them now reboot, and we now can also go to the next ESXi host, and on the next ESXi host we can do just the following. We can just copy this prepared lines because we know they work. Let us imagine in this case this host will be rebooted, and then it would be booted successfully again. We know, okay, this combination of drivers works. We can just copy and go to the other ESXi host, you see the connection is now closed because we rebooted. We can just copy it in. And then we just wait, and it takes a little bit time, but they will just remove one after another. Be aware of that if you're doing this, the hosts must be free from VMs. Do not do this when the host is running productive VMs or something. You have to do it in a maintenance mode, or you have to do it when the host is completely empty and no VMs are running on. So don't reboot a host if there is some production VMs on it. So VMs should be removed from the host before. Okay, and you look here on the other host, on ESXi host 2, they are removed successfully in both cases. So now you see that the second host is so much faster cleaned up. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see us next time. If you liked the video, give me a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and bye bye.